It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's the 25th of December, and well, there is some end of year activities that you should be thinking about as a rockhound. Now, some of you out there might know this, some of you may not. There's a decent number of timber company properties that allow access, okay? And there's some amazing rockhounding opportunities to be had on private timber company lands. Very often, moderately often, let's go with that. They allow permitted access to their properties, and that includes for things like berry picking, hunting. Oftentimes they don't say rockhounding, but it's just implied that if you're accessing their property to go hunt or pick berries or collect firewood, those types of things, that the rockhounding is included in that. Well, unfortunately, maybe not, well, I shouldn't say it like that. They often run their permit system based on the calendar year, okay? And they only have so many that they usually offer. So that means if you want a permit for a timber company, well, first off, you got to double check, make sure it's where you want to go, and then contact them. Usually they have info on their website of different places you can buy the permits, and you should be there on January 2nd to go buy your permit for that specific timber company's property. Now, there's some great stuff out there on timber company land. A lot of timber company lands were acquired in like the 70s and 80s and in that kind of realm, and stuff has been off limits. Now, there's some exceptions, especially here in Washington. Like I think Weyerhaeuser is super strict with what they're doing on the west side of the state. But even still, you can get unit permits, you can get keys to gates. There's a lot that you can do. Be thinking about that, okay? Be thinking about that. Now, there's no better time to talk about consumer goods than the holidays. Am I right? Okay, I want to show you two things here. So first off, we have this. Well, let's go like this. Here we have an Estwing 4-pound sledgehammer, an engineer's hammer. These things go by a number of different names. And here we have a 3-pound Estwing hammer. What do you think the difference is between these two? Any guesses? Any guesses? Going once, going twice, going thrice? Made in America and made in China? Taiwan. Made in Taiwan. Well, if any of the more older viewers here on the channel remember, brands like Craftsman, brands like Black & Decker, there's been a number of brands that made tools over the years that started to transition to overseas manufacturing. And it wasn't something that they did overnight. It was something that was a progressive shift of their product lines. So this past year, I noticed that the Estwing website went down for 5 months or so-ish. It went down. And when it came back up, they had more made in Taiwan, made overseas products. They also have a line now of licensed goods. So like generic stuff with their logo on it, which it's kind of sad to see. It's sad to see an American-made company go that way. I mean, there's a clear difference in the fit and finish of a made in America Estwing and the made overseas Estwings. Is it possible that they totally transition away from domestic manufacturing? I wouldn't rule it out at this point. You know, it is entirely possible. And it's sad to see, but that's really the way many things go. And, you know, what can you do about it? What are your options? You know, the options are you deal with it, you find something good and made domestically, or you make it yourself. Now, I haven't really shown this, kind of shown this. This is a tool roll. Now, in this tool roll, I have my chisels, my Rockhounding chisels. Now, I've done a pretty good job of selecting chisels that are purposely, how to say this? I bring them with a goal in mind, okay? And I'll just show them to you real quick. And I'm going to point out something that makes them all kind of not too great. First off, we have a pointed Dasco, okay? We have a flat, 1-inch flat Dasco. We have a 3/4 inch Irwin, so more of a cold chisel than a Mason's chisel. We have a, I believe it's 2 3/4 inch Dasco double bevel Mason's chisel. And we have a smaller Irwin double bevel Mason's chisel. These are primarily meant for bricks, right? That's what they're there for. Now, lately I've been using flat bars. So I have 2 flat bars here, right? We have a Stanley, which you know, I've been stripping all the paint off of these because a painted chisel is like the worst chisel. And then we have an Estwing, which I believe this was a licensed product. This is made not here. And we can point out there's a problem. Do you see that gap? Yeah. That is not what you want out of a chisel, right? You do not want that rocking. Now, the double flat bar is great for taking a seam, a crack, putting this in there, and opening that up, right? And like felling a tree, you can always double wedge it. Well, I'm not really happy with any of these. They all are kind of a repurposed thing. I mean, these are meant for red Mason's bricks, but they are good for shales, like splitting stuff out for fossils. These utility flat bars are kind of, you can kind of just beat on them and be like, well, you know, is what it is. Finer work, right? The small cold chisel. The 2 big Dascos for just like thumping on these. Now, the problem with all of these designs is as you beat on these and the tips get all beat up and dulled, well, you know, you have to start grinding them back. And as you do that, that bevel, that angle that is created starts to widen out unless you do a lot of heavy reprofiling. So I've had this idea of making my own chisels, and I'm kind of running into a little bit of a problem, and maybe somebody out there smarter than me could help with this. So what I went out and I did a bunch of research about what would be the best design. I already have a killer design for a chisel, purpose-built for the Rockhound, and I've picked a steel that I think would be very good. And I got a piece of it right here. Now, not all steels are created equal by any means. This is a 2-inch by 3/8 thick piece of AR 500 steel bar. Now, the AR 500, some of you might know that it is popular amongst people that do target shooting, and the steel targets are made out of this. It is a bulletproof steel. However, its primary use is in the mining industry, actually. The AR stands for abrasion resistance, and then the 500 is the rating, which is like, it's complex, but there's a rating system and it's high up there. Now, I had this idea of making my own flat bar chisels out of this and being like, I have a couple of great designs that would be very good for somebody rockhounding, myself. Well, a little problem. I have very standard metal working tools out here in the shop. And see that little cut right there? See that? Okay, so that was in my, I have a really nice bandsaw, and it won't cut it. That just like, it like stripped the teeth off my bandsaw blade. So it's not something you can really work with a traditional means, but if there is anybody out there with non-traditional means of like a plasma table, a water jet table, there is, I think, the idea of making purpose-built rockhounding chisels out of a high-end invincible steel that's not going to mushroom when you pound on it is a great idea. If anybody wants to help me with this project, get in touch. Currently rockhounding@gmail.com, and maybe we can make something great for the community of rockhounds out here, you know, something where you can buy it once, you know. In the world of chisels, right, you have these things which are like, you know, 8 to 12, 20 bucks, and then you can get into carbide inserted chisels that can be $150, $200, $300. There's no in between. There's nothing made for the rockhound. I want to make the best chisels. And all of these guys back here, I don't think it's it. I don't think it's it at all. This past week, we went out and did some rockhounding for Zeolites. Now, the world of Zeolites is amazing, and I want to talk a little bit about those, that specific group of minerals here shortly. But I think it's important to point out a couple of things. Now, everything that I kind of know, for the most part, I'm learning from books. Okay. Now these are the collector's guide, and these are books to very specific mineral groups. Now, I'm always just completely amazed when I see somebody talking in groups or whatever that really acts like they know everything. And I gotta like roll my eyes super hard. I gotta shake my head, because the more I learn about rocks and minerals, I'm really like, I know so little. Oh my gosh. Like, and these are really like a great window into that, okay? You might think you know something about granite and pegmatites, and then you get a book like this, and you're like, oh, there's so much that you don't know. And this is just like cracking the door and peeking in, okay? And the world of Zeolites is no different. There is a collector's guide to the Zeolite group, and this really, I got this book first, okay? And this kind of cracked that door for me to start looking in and starting to grasp some of the complexities of that. And it really did a great job of that, you know? And these are widely available books. You can like buy them on Amazon. After that, I got Rudy's book here, Zeolites of the World. Absolutely mind-blowing amount of information in this. Like the complexity of the Zeolite group is near infinite, and they are so beautiful to take photos of. And that they're just, it's amazing to see such a incredible book. Well, it got me hooked. I have a lot more Zeolite content in the works. It should be a lot of fun. It's very neat to be able to pick something and deep dive on it. And I would highly recommend that. Like, it doesn't have to be Zeolites. It doesn't have to be any of this stuff, but pick a rock or mineral and just like laser focus yourself on it, you know? There's so much cool stuff to be found out there. I mean, as an example, you just want to start learning about magnetite, which that's what we have here, magnetite from Utah. Oh man, like be prepared to be overwhelmed, or some fossils, right? The world of trilobites is so crazy. There's so much to learn that to think that any one person could really know it all is, well, it's foolish. It's a foolish thing to think about. Maybe that's something for the new year, right? Spend some time thinking about one group, one mineral, you know? You like, it's more complex than you would ever realize, right? Like getting into quartz and silicates, there's so much. Get your permits, get those permits in, and maybe, I know that there's a lot of people out there that watch these videos, and maybe this isn't for you, but maybe it is. But hear me out. The whole having this rockhounding channel has been a very positive impact in my life, in Sarah's life. I don't think it's impacted the dog much. And well, if you are looking for a community of people that are supportive and smart and nice and all of that, I highly suggest you try starting a YouTube channel in the new year, okay? All of this content here on my channel, most of it in the past year or so has been filmed on my cell phone. Most people have a cell phone, and you don't have to be great at it. Go back, watch my first video. My first video, it was not great. And your first video is not going to be great, but it's not about that. It's about participating in something, being part of something, being part of that community. That's something that is lacking in a lot of people's lives. And well, YouTube is an excellent way to do that. So if that's something you're interested in, think up a cool name, think up a good name for your channel, and hit that create button, and make yourself a YouTube channel for 2022. Share some of your rockhounding. You'd be surprised at what will do well here on this platform. My most popular video here was a video I didn't think anybody was going to like or watch. It was really just me standing out here in the shop talking about agates and jaspers and stuff, and why things kind of are what they are. Honestly, I didn't put a whole heck of a lot of effort into that video, and people loved it. So that could be the exact same experience for you. You just have no clue. Well, everybody, hope you had a lovely Christmas. Thanks for coming by, hanging out with me in the shop. And this coming week, I'm doing something that I haven't done in a while here on the channel, but I really like it. And that is to post a unique resource every day of the week. So if you go over to the channel page, click that community tab. Every day this week, I'm posting a cool link to an outside resource that you might find very, very useful and will aid you a great deal in learning about rocks, geology, mineralogy, rockhounding, all of that stuff. So stay tuned for that. All right, y'all take care. And if you like the content, hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you're able to join as a member, much appreciated, And I will catch you on the next video.